You are tuned into the Dr. Tina Show with Dr. Tina Moore. For more, visit drtina.com. On this episode of the Dr. Tina Show, I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite go-to supplements that I absolutely cannot be without. I travel with them. I took them all with me on a recent trip to London, and I wanted to share with you because you guys often ask me, hey, Dr. Tina, what is it that you actually take on the regular? And I have some non-negotiables that I will not be without. And so I wanted to share those with you today and also talk to you a little bit about the bioidentical hormone replacement that I take, the peptides that I like, etc. So first, I will share with you this beautiful bag that I got. This was like my one souvenir because my husband hates souvenirs. So I got myself a bag from London. It's from St. James Cathedral. If you guys haven't been there, it's amazing. Somehow did not get bombed in the Blitz of London, which I learned was about a year's worth of bombing from the Germans. They blitzed London for a year. And amazingly, this massive, beautiful church that's on a hill, that's huge, did not get bombed. So I don't know if God was at play on that one or what, but pretty impressive. Oh, my dog came down to join us. My big dog, Stark. If you see some big ears or tail go by in the video, you know that's Stark. Anyway, there were some supplements that I took with me. I took a whole bunch with me. I probably took too many, but I got everything into carry-ons. I was so proud of myself. We did this entire trip, a week in London, my husband and I both, with just carry-ons. They were overpacked, and I actually think the next trip will be more exciting because I realized I didn't even need all of what I took. And I only took a carry-on suitcase and a carry-on tote, and everything fit within the parameters of international travel. And it still was too much stuff. So way more supplements than I needed, more clothes than I needed, all of that. So I'm learning, and it's really exciting. And one of the reasons that I am able to do carry-on versus checking a bag, which if you guys know anything about me, I am the queen of overpacking, like big old check bag, like big check bag every time, right up to the 50-pound limit, way more clothes than I ever need. And since starting on GLP-1s, I have been able to put all of that aside and just pack like a normal, rational human with just carry-on. So I don't know what it is. There's something that has to do with the pathways in my brain that the microdoses of GLP-1 is meeting, and I am able to just do a carry-on, which is phenomenal. So I pack all my supplements in little tiny baggies and I label them, which I found out you can bring as many as you want. I looked it all up through TSA. They don't care what you take on, which is crazy, but you put your supplements in a baggie. You need to label your medications if they're a controlled substance. If you're going internationally, make sure you check with whatever country it is that you're going into to make sure that, you know, I'm not a travel expert by any means, but between the UK and here, it was really easy just for me to take my supplements. So I had everything in little tiny baggies labeled in a half-gallon Ziploc bag. So very easy, very doable. All of my supplements for myself and my husband. But these are the ones I actually took every day. And like I said, I didn't take them all. So I will share with you. Oh, before I start that, though, I want to share with you a little bit about my bioidentical hormone replacement. I've done many episodes on hormones. If you go to drtina.com and you click on the podcast link, it will take you to a page where you can search via AI for any podcast I've done on a topic. And I've actually listed all my hormone episodes there, so you can go through and listen to them. I've talked at length about hormones. I have been using bioidentical hormone replacement personally and professionally since my 30s. And I have no problem with that. I literally don't understand why people would not use hormones. I know that there was some data that came out about 20 years ago that scared everybody off, but those of us who were smart and could read the data realized that that data was flawed. They were talking about using progestins, not progesterone. And when you use progestins, they bind to the progesterone receptors, but they don't do the same thing. And in the presence of estrogen, they can cause some problems. And that's what was happening there. And so those of us prescribing bioidentical hormone replacement in the past 20 years never stopped. Like that study came out right when I was getting out of school. And I was like, okay, but I got great training by some amazing mentors in bioidentical hormone replacement. So I never stopped using hormones with my patients, and I never stopped using them personally. So I take progesterone, I take estrogen, I take testosterone. I use a whole slew of peptides. If you guys want to know about the peptides I use, go back and listen to the episode I did last week. I actually herniated a disc in my back, if you can believe it. 5 days before I had to get on a plane to London, and I was not missing that flight. I have never been to London. It was my first experience there, and I was not missing it because no expense was spared. And my husband and I were going to have the time of our lives because we are 50 and someday is now, and I'm not getting any younger. And he's never been either. He's never even been to Europe. So I made sure it was a bougie trip and I was not missing it. There was no version of that. Plus, I was honored to be a guest on a really phenomenal podcast, and you guys will see that coming out here soon. It was really fantastic and it was a great honor. So I wasn't missing my chance. So I healed up and I did a whole podcast about how I did it. So go listen to that episode because I go deeper into some of my favorite peptides. If you really want to know how I use peptides and what my favorite ones are overall, including ones that are over the counter and prescription, I talk about that in depth inside my Ozempic Done Right University paid program. You guys can, I'll put a link in the show notes. You guys can check it out there. It's a really comprehensive program, all about metabolic health, GLP-1 agonists predominantly, living the insulin sensitive lifestyle, hormones, bioidentical hormone replacement, peptides, adjunctive therapeutics that go along with GLP-1s, the whole shebang. So it's a great program. I'm still building it out. We're getting it done and it's turning out better than I could have imagined. So you can hear me talk in depth with my clinical reasoning around dosing, microdosing strategies, hormones, peptides, all of it inside my Ozempic Done Right University. So I will leave it at that. One of my favorite peptides, though, is BPC 157 because it kind of covers the gamut and you can get that over the counter. Go to the link in my show notes from the last week's episode, all about my disc herniation. I talk all about them in there, and there's a link to go ahead and purchase with a discount peptides there if you're interested. These are over the counter oral form. These are not injectables. These are not prescription items. These are just over the counter, available to anyone, totally legal. So I'll leave it at that. As far as hormones go, I started in my 30s on progesterone. I wish I had started sooner, to be totally honest with you. It's a neurohormone, so it's really calming to the brain. I have never tested a woman, young or old, who had adequate progesterone. And whether I tested saliva, urine, or blood, I don't see healthy progesterone levels in women. It's something that we desperately need. And so big fan of that one. You can get it over the counter in a cream form, although please don't go slathering it on without knowing what you're doing because the symptoms of low progesterone are very similar to the symptoms of high progesterone, as is the case with all hormones. And it's really that sweet spot, that Goldilocks spot. So go listen to all my podcasts. I have multiple podcasts all about hormones. I get asked about this all the time, you guys. I will say I'm excited. I've gotten a lot of new followers lately, and I welcome you all. But I am a big fan of looking shit up, and I expect the same out of you guys. So I don't do all the heavy lifting for you. I plant the seeds, and I show you where to find more information. I've done a whole series on hormones, so I get asked about this all the time, and I'm like, is no one going to look at the podcast? But people want these quick little sound bites on Instagram, and that's just a lazy way of being. So go listen to the podcast episodes because we can't talk about complex concepts in 30-second reels. These are longer conversations. If you're here watching this now and you're still here, you're obviously one of the people who likes to learn. And so go to my website at drtyna.com. That's DRTYNA. Click on the podcast link. I have an AI page there. It's not AI generated, but it's ran by an AI bot that you can put in any word you want, and it'll give you all the episodes and where that word shows up in the episode. And if you scroll down, you'll see that I have all my hormone episodes in a whole series, and you can see them all. So go listen to them because I talk a lot in there. And people who've been following me and listening to all my content, I realize there's a lot there and it can be overwhelming. Hopefully that search engine makes things a little bit more clear. And I've tried to organize things by topic so that you can find what you need. But hormones are a complicated subject. So let's see. I then added in testosterone in my mid 40s and estrogen in my later 40s. I wish I'd started estrogen sooner. I was having some troubles with it. I'm a really low hormone girl naturally. So taking estrogen there was a little bit of an estrogen kickback at first, and it was, kind of makes me swell up, and I wasn't real thrilled with it. So I'm really glad though I kind of was forced into using it in the past year because of all the injuries I kept having. Estrogen keeps you juicy. So I really made myself get back on that horse and get through that initial hump, because there can be a little bit of a hump when you get on hormones. And I'm over it. And I really do love my estrogen. Progesterone I used to use topically. I now use it orally. That's a prescription item, the oral form. And then testosterone is a controlled substance. So you have to get a prescription and you have to find someone who knows what they're doing. But that's something that I use intermittently as needed. And I have no qualms about it. I really don't understand why people don't use hormones when they need to use hormones. We've been scared away by it. I'll do a whole episode on that another day. The study coming out of the Women's Health Initiative 20 years ago was flawed. And we knew that. Anybody who knew anything about hormones knew that. And so a whole generation of women were scared away from hormones. And we were prescribing them as practitioners because we knew that the study was flawed. They were using progestins instead of progesterone, which is a longer conversation, but it's not good. Progestins are not good. And I always prescribe them. I continued to prescribe them with great success with my patients, and my patients continued to benefit from them. And thank God, thank God for hormones. If you need hormones, I get some pushback on Instagram where older women are like, we're supposed to age naturally. You go, girlfriend, have fun with your dementia and your heart disease and your skin sagging and everything else sagging. Like, have fun with that. Have fun with your osteoporosis and have fun with your loss of muscle mass and have, fun while you're losing your memory and your brain is shrinking. I'll be over here taking my hormones. And we're not dosing crazy high doses. We're not trying to be like 25-year-olds. We're just doing physiologic dosing. So find somebody that you can work with. I do go into it in some detail inside my Ozempic Done Right University, and it's enough to get most people a good start on the education, but there's always more. And if you need a practitioner, you're going to have to find a practitioner. And chances are anyone who's going to do GLP-1s right, anyone who's going to do peptides right, anyone who's going to do hormones right, you're looking at finding somebody who's cash only or payment at time of service. They're not going to be messing around in the insurance system, you guys. You're not going to find what you need from an insurance doctor. I promise you wholeheartedly, I have never met a talented doctor who dabbles in functional medicine, longevity medicine, that world of expertise, which is a whole different ballgame than the way they were trained. It requires money and time to get trained in that, and takes time to really master it. None of those people take insurance. So you're looking at paying out of pocket, and you're most likely looking at traveling. To be honest with you, there's not a ton of people who do this well. So it's worth it, you guys. It's worth every penny. I haven't used my insurance, but I didn't even use it then. I paid cash. I haven't used my insurance in, knock on wood, except for one little incident where I didn't even get good coverage. I don't think I've used my insurance in 20, 30 years. Like, insurance is garbage. It's organized crime. So pay out of pocket, it's worth it. Even when I was a broke single mom trying to build a practice in bankruptcy, and I still paid out of pocket for my medical care. So, you get what you pay for, and the insurance system is flawed. And any doctor that's willing to take 30 cents on the dollar because that's what insurance pays them, is really not what I'm looking for. I'm not dissing doctors who take insurance, but like, if you're talented and you do something unique, why would you? Like, why would you accept 30 cents on the dollar, right? Unless they're in the hospital system and they're required to, which I totally understand. Again, I'm not dissing anyone, but like, it's a busted system. And none of the great thinkers that I know, or the folks that are really talented at what they do, play in that system, because they also realize it's a busted system. No one's going to take 30 cents on the dollar to have their chart notes scrutinized to be told how they can and cannot treat patients. But anyway, I digress. So there's that. I do a microdose of GLP-1. I rotate and I cycle. And if you guys want the details of what that means and what my clinical rationale is with that and around that, it is laid out in detail inside my Ozempic Done Right University, which is my paid program. You guys can find the link to that in the show notes, and you can check it out there. But it is the comprehensive program of what my clinical brain knows. And it's not just about GLP-1s, and it's not just about microdosing. I get so many questions. What's the dose, Dr. Tina? It really depends. And for you to understand what I mean by it really depends, you have to go in and listen to all the lessons and the modules and really learn what it is that I'm trying to teach. And this is for practitioners especially, but also for the general public. Like, I'm making sure that this information is approachable to everyone, because let's face it, most doctors don't have a clue where to start when it comes to metabolic dysfunction. So They don't know how to treat that. If they did, 94% of US adults wouldn't have it. So I'm trying to make something that is really comprehensive. It's not the end all be all. It's not a $10,000 course, It's not a functional medicine training for, you still have to go get that if you're a doctor, go learn more, but it will whet your palate and it'll get you started. If you're a health coach, if you're a nutritional therapist, if you're a strength and conditioning coach, if you're an acupuncturist, chiropractor, anybody who is seeing patients on GLP-1s could benefit from understanding them better and more in depth, and then what that looks like as part of a comprehensive treatment protocol, as well as if you're the general public, you really need to get educated, because you're not going to be able to find a doctor to work with and have educated conversations with that doctor if you don't know what it is that you're going for. So I get pushback a lot from the general public, and they say, well, I'm just going to find someone to work with. That's really a dangerous way to do things. It is my firm belief that you need to become educated on the thing that you want the most help with. If you understand your hormones and you understand GLP-1s and you understand peptides, then you know what to ask for. And you actually also know what's happening when you're using them. If you're starting to have side effects or if you're not feeling great on them, you won't have a clue. You're completely in their hands. Like, that's what I'm trying to get across. I wouldn't trust 95% of the people I graduated school with to take over the care of my family. And that's saying a lot. So know what it is that you're doing, empower yourself so that you can have these educated conversations with your practitioners and you can get the best possible care out of the money you're spending and the time you're spending. So anyway, I digress. That's my rant. What's in my goodie bag? Number 1, Purity Coffee. Now, I will admit, I did not take this coffee to London, but I love this coffee. And the reason I love it is because this one's ease. It's a dark roast. It's great on my stomach. It does not cause me a bunch of gastrointestinal issues. But they have these sachets. And so you can travel with these sachets, which is so great when I do national travel, when I'm just going around to LA or wherever, Texas, to podcast, whatever. I'm traveling with these little sachets and I love them. And they just make sure that I have the coffee I'm used to at the dose I like. And I always have a joke. Do not drink other people's coffee if you've got to use your hands that day. So I specialized in regenerative injection therapies. That was a huge predominant part of my practice, and bioidentical hormone replacement. I was a regenerative medicine doc. And I would travel all over the country to train other doctors how to do this. And so you can imagine what happens when you drink other people's coffee in the morning to your hand. I can't have my hand shake. And so that's my rule of don't trust other people's coffee. You don't know what it'll do to you, especially if you suffer with anxiety from coffee or coffee doesn't always sit right with you. I highly encourage you to try Purity. Try the Ease Blend if you've got gut issues at all, but it's organic, it's clean, it's free of mold, it's free of pesticides, it's regeneratively farmed, it's sourced, really in a ethical way. So good coffee. Sachets, way to go. All right, but I did not take them to London because I forgot. And I'm actually really glad because the coffee in London was amazing. It was so good everywhere I went. It was so simple. They were like, do you want a black or do you want a white? You don't have all these fancy drinks. You either have a black or you have a white. And if I say black, they don't say, would you like cream and sugar with that? Because I always order my coffee black. And I'll say, can I have a black coffee or a black Americano? And people will say, do you want cream and sugar? No, that's why I ordered it black, right? Black like my soul. I just want simple coffee. So you can get that there and it's great. Okay, my emergency meat sticks. So these are meat sticks by PaleoValley. These are beef. These are fermented beef, grass-fed. They are so yummy. This one's jalapeno and this one's the original. These are my two favorite. They have different flavors. They have turkey and chicken too. I'm not as big of a fan, to be honest. I love the beef. There's a summer sausage flavor. I have these in my purse. I have them in my travel bag. I have them in my suitcase. You never know when you or your husband is going to start melting down. And I cannot tell you the amount of fights that have been spared by me pulling out an emergency meat stick. So my daughter knows these are in my purse at all times. She always finds them. And just like mom carries a Band-Aid, mom should carry an emergency meat stick. So PaleoValley beef sticks, links are in the show notes to save. Links are in the show notes for the Purity Coffee to save. I do not go anywhere without my meat sticks. However, coming back into the US, they don't want you to have any meat products, so you got to eat them all really fast. Okay. The other thing is my Bioptimizer's Masszyme. So I actually don't carry this bottle around. I put it in a small bottle. I carry it in my purse or my fanny pack. And these I take with food if I want support in digesting my food, especially if I eat a lot of protein, because I have a harder time with that. And I used to think that I couldn't eat protein. I hear a lot from you guys, oh, I can't eat protein, it makes me sick. No, you can. You just have not eaten it for so long that you are not producing the enzymes necessary to digest it appropriately, or you have weak digestion for whatever reason. So get yourself some Masszymes and try again. How do you take them? I take less with small meals, more with bigger meals. I love these. These don't stink like some do. They actually smell kind of sweet and yummy. And I've tried every freaking digestive enzyme on the planet, and I genuinely love these. So Masszymes by Bioptimizers, that's a big one. If you take them away from food, meaning there's no food in your stomach, they will help reduce inflammation. They chew up proteins, so they also chew up inflammatory cytokines, et cetera. So I do love digestive enzymes away from food as well. It's kind of a little secret in the musculoskeletal world. Okay. The next thing is my element salts. These are quite literally stashed everywhere. And that is not an exaggeration. I had so many of these in all of my suitcases. I was like, I hope none of them explode, because then I'm going to end up with powder everywhere. And you don't want to go through TSA with powder. So that's never fun. So anyway, these little packets are so great. True story, a couple times during this trip, the jet lag was getting me, because we flew business class and I had delicious food, and I wasn't going to do the whole fasting while you travel thing so that you don't get jet lag. Like, I was going to enjoy my trip. I was going to have my champagne, and I was going to have my orange juice, and I was going to have my meals that came with the flight, and I was going to do it all. And it was delicious, and I enjoyed every second of it. So a little bit of jet lag. Surprisingly, I cannot tell you how many times salt has saved my life, you guys. It's no joke. Like, salt is miraculous. Like, it is miraculous. It will set you straight. I cannot tell you the amount of times, like, my daughter's not doing well, or my husband doesn't feel good, or I don't feel good, and I'm like, salt. So I'm sitting in the middle of a cafe. It's the middle of the day. It's hot. My husband and I are like, ugh, we've just walked a million miles. I'm so tired. The jet lag's hitting me. The adrenal fatigue's hitting me. I also did not wean off the steroids I was on. I was on a Medrol dose pack for my back. I did not wean off them slowly enough. And when you have adrenal fatigue, you can't just come off that stuff. You've got to break the pill and break the pill and break the pill, and really wean down. Well, I went from 3 pills in one day to 1 the next day, and I was crashing so hard the next day after that. And I was like, oh God, I bottomed out my adrenal glands. This is not good. Salt is the solution in all cases. I also went home and tapered the steroids a bit more safely and effectively, but that's a conversation with your medical doctor. Anyway, Element. I love these. I love these packets. I love these flavors. I love Rob Wolf, who formulated these. I just think Element saves the day. The other day on the plane home, we're over the middle of the ocean. It is the middle of the night. I am not feeling great. I'm just sort of like, I woke up from my nap. I was disoriented. I was in my little pod, and my husband's asleep. And I just have those moments when I'm in the air and I freak out for a minute. I always freak out at some point during a longer flight where I'm like, I am hurling across an ocean in a tin can with a whole bunch of other planes up here in the dark. Like, that thought really always freaks me out. So I had that moment, and it just wasn't feeling awesome. So I went back to the galley and I got a bottle of water, and I brought it back and I put it in my water bottle, and I emptied one of these in, and I just started sipping. And I kid you not, within 20 minutes, I was like, damn, I feel better. So do not underestimate the power of salt. And yes, it will help drive the water into your cells better. And yes, it's good for hydration. But I'm just telling you straight up, especially if you struggle with any kind of adrenal weakness, salt is your BFF. Having these stashed everywhere and anywhere is a game changer. Okay. Speaking of adrenals, I have a product in my line called Resilience. I love this product. The reason I love this product is because it has glandulars and it has adaptogenic herbs, which you need both. If you take just glandulars, it's too stimulating. If you take just adaptogenic herbs, it doesn't always cut it. And so I am a big fan of both, and I have both formulated in this product. This is called Resilience for a reason. It helps you be more resilient. I absolutely love it. I Do not mess around with it though. It's potent. And so I definitely respect it when I do my dosing. I can't tell you how to dose it, but I would tell you to look at the instructions on the bottle and go with that as a guide. You can do more, you can do less, but fabulous product. A lot of people have messaged me who've started on this. It's very well priced. One bottle will last you a good while if you're dosing it. You might need to dose it higher. It really depends on how you're feeling. Obviously, check with your health professional, but most people can take this safely at a lower dose and see how they feel. Like I said, the adrenal cortex in there can be a little stimulating, but I've gotten many messages from people telling me that like this was just a godsend. You know, they were getting over something, they were coming out of something stressful, they were coming out of some kind of sickness or what have you, and they were like, oh my gosh, total game changer. I really firmly believe everybody should have some adrenal support on hand. You never know when you're going to need it. This has saved me and my husband multiple times. Obviously, if you're working with a practitioner, they're going to tell you to take it every day, but this is something that I use as needed personally, and it's wonderful to get me going in the morning to help set that circadian rhythm and get my cortisol awakening response to go. And it's also wonderful in the afternoon when I'm starting to wane. Instead of reaching for coffee, which has a tremendously long half-life and can really disrupt your sleep, I go for one of these and it sets my afternoon up and I'm able to get through my workday effectively. My other favorite product in my line is Relax Tonic. And so I would encourage you to travel with a closed container when you get on a plane. If you are checking your baggage, do not go on with an open container because they will flag you and pull you aside. See the powder fluff out. They will go through they have to swab it and make sure it's nothing problematic at TSA. So go through with a closed container. They still might pull you. But I go through with it has a foil seal over the top. I go through with a sealed container. And this is a magnesium, GABA, L-theanine, myo-inositol blend. This is amazing for so many reasons, but it does a bang up job of calming your brain down, getting you that magnesium malate, which is so wonderful for especially musculoskeletal conditions. It's a beautiful blend, you guys. This is my number one selling product for a reason. And I love to couple it with this product, Chill Pill. They do exactly what I say they do. And the combo is magical. So 2 of these chased by a glass of this sets me right. Just allows me to be calm, allows me to get through things. There's times when I'm in that sort of 11 a.m. anxiety mode where that's usually when the whole world has woken up and decided to come at me and my phone's blowing up and my emails are blowing up and people are coming at me from all sides, no matter how I might try to avoid it. This combo, I'm like, why did I not take this earlier in the day? This combo right here. So you can do Chill Pill as needed, but you can also take it consistently. So I know people who take this all day long and it really helps with that cortisol response. It doesn't dampen it. It just kind of keeps you even keel. So resilience peps you up a little. Chill Pill calms you down, but they actually work synergistically. You would think, well, are they counteracting each other? No, it's not designed to work that way. This is such a wonderful blend of nutrients and herbs to just calm that cortisol response and keep it from going aberrantly like, and I'm telling you, chase it with a Relax Tonic. This tastes like cherry Kool-Aid. It'll bring you back. But my dad takes this and he takes a couple scoops a day. And my daughter was like, Papa's so much nicer when he drinks that. I'm like, yeah, I know. So this is the combo. Chill Pill, Relax Tonic. Love it. You can do them separately, but I'm telling you, the combo together is magical. And this is the magnesium. This is straight up when people say, what magnesium do you suggest? Relax Tonic. It's got a lot in there. But if you're looking for a magnesium that we know in clinical studies crosses the blood-brain barrier, you're looking to improve cognition, you're looking to sort of spark that brain activity, you're looking for something to give you a little bit more focus, this is it. But this can also be used at night to calm the brain down. It really depends on how your brain reacts to this. But this is called Vital Brain, and it's a magnesium threonate, which is very well studied. The only magnesium known to cross the blood-brain barrier. I really love this product as well. I will use this and this. The thing with taking too much magnesium is you will get loose stools if you take too much, but you can ease your way into it and adapt. I do actually this and my Relax Tonic together in the morning. I can also do this at night to calm down. Some people will say that this really wakes their brain up, and others will tell me that this really calms their brain down. I love magnesium threonate. Vital Brain is extremely concentrated, and I've heard people complain about the price, and I will admit it's not the cheapest product in the world, but it is literally 4 times as concentrated as the pill forms that you're going to find online, if not more. It's one scoop of this is an extremely concentrated form of magnesium threonate. So you may not need a full scoop, and the scoop is tiny. So this is really, really potent, extremely high quality, and really good clinical data on what it does for the brain. You can go to my store, and I will put a link in there in the show notes and give you guys a coupon to use to save. And under each of these products, there's a product description page. You can click on it. You can see the studies. You can see a deeper description of what these products do and how they work. And you can also find the list of ingredients there to make sure there's nothing in it that conflicts with, your life and the things that you take. So these are the products I don't travel without. So again, I'll just quickly, Purity Coffee, although I use the sachets, not the big old bag. I don't carry. Actually, you could carry this around if you have a grinder and a coffee pot at your hotel, but I have yet to find a grinder. I guess if you're going Airbnb. My PaleoValley emergency beef sticks, because they are grass-fed, they're fermented, they digest really easily, they're individually wrapped, they travel really, really well. My Masszymes, because having a bloaty, distended, uncomfortable stomach after eating a meal out on the road is not fun, especially if you're like me and you cook all your meals at home. When you go out to eat, it can be challenging. And so this is what keeps me at least somewhat comfortable. I still might get a little bit of bloating and distension because sometimes I eat things I'm not supposed to eat, but we gotta live a little. And Masszymes by Bioptimizers. And then quickly, my favorite Adrenal support is Resilience. This keeps me going. This also helps set that circadian rhythm to some degree, to be honest with you. My Chill Pill Relax Tonic combo is, you just can't beat it. If nothing else, this is the go-to, right? It's for everyone. And then if you're looking for cognitive support and really to spark that brain and that brain health, Vital Brain, that's the magnesium for the brain. So that's it. And last but not least, Salt, Element, the little travel packets. These are you got to be with these. These got to be in all your bags, you guys. Just trust me. They will bail you out. And don't forget about them. If you're not feeling good for any reason, remember what I said. If you take nothing else from this, try some salt and see if that doesn't help right the ship a little bit. It's got to be a little bit more of a dose than you would think. So you're going to want to get like an oomph in there, but salt is miraculous. So that's it. I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys got something from this and it maybe answers some questions of what I travel with and what supplements that I will not leave home with. And you guys can find the links for all of these in the show notes. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for listening to the Dr. Tina Show. This is a Wellness Loud production produced by Drake Peterson and mixed by Mike Fry. Theme song is by John the Guilt. You can watch the full video version of this podcast inside the Spotify app or on YouTube. As always, you can email the podcast at podcast@drtina.com. That's DRTYNA. And if you like this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. You can also find all of my offerings on my website at drtina.com. For more shows by my team, go to wellnessloud.com. See you next time, and thanks for listening. This podcast is for general informational purposes only. It does not constitute the practices of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. I am a doctor, but I am not your doctor. No doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of this information and the materials linked to this podcast is at the user's own risk. The content on this podcast is intended not to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice from any medical condition they have, and they should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions.